We no longer employ our ancestral cosmic orientation to connect with the natural world as we previously did. The sun's diurnal trajectory across the sky no longer dictates our location or the time of day. Our perception of the external world has evolved, resulting in a diminished sense of completeness within a dominant system. Climate and seasonal variables affect our work and leisure patterns, attire, nutrition, and travel. These elements influence our subconscious perception of timing and our capacity to engage with nature, which we frequently neglect. We frequently admire ancient civilizations' perceived tranquility and spiritual assurance, overlooking that their instruments were cultivated and employed in a context that prompted them to acknowledge and embrace both natural and divine forces. These tools facilitated preserving a profound sense of cosmic orientation, allowing individuals to sustain it and perceive their role as a genuine spiritual endeavor. Ancient Egypt provided Al with a sense of cosmic orientation. The contemporary construction of dams has inhibited the Nile from generating its annual flood. Comprehending the cadence of that event and others is crucial for grasping Egyptian rituals and ceremonies. To regain cosmic orientation, we must transcend our temporal realm and immerse ourselves in the visible universe of ancient Egypt, where cosmic rhythms supported human existence, nature, and the deities. In Egyptian society, both secular and spiritual affairs were regulated by the notion of time. Although the realms of the gods, Neher, were deemed eternal, they were also continuous and expressed in cycles. In accordance with the oscillations of cosmic existence, deities manifested at various intervals yet remained enduring and immutable. Celestial bodies facilitate events occurring in linear time, Djet, and by the rhythms of cosmic existence. The three dimensions of cosmic activity were believed to be constituted by three distinct rhythms: lunar, solar, and stellar. Esoteric traditions assert that all life is governed by nature's rhythms, seasons, and cycles. The moon and the sun are pivotal in human existence. Scholars assert that ancient Egypt's initial invention for timekeeping was a lunar calendar. The quantity of new moons dictates the synodical cycles within a month. The 29-day synodic cycle commenced with the initial crescent illumination of the new moon. This phase consists of two hemicycles, 14 days of waxing and 14 days of waning lunar illumination. Every quarter comprises 7 days. Throughout history, individuals have employed these metrics to ascertain a lunar week and month. The symbolism of the lunar phases is profoundly embedded in celestial phenomena. At the commencement of the lunar cycle, the new moon, the sun and moon align at the same celestial coordinates. In various legends regarding divine unions, the ancients perceived it as the convergence of male, solar, and female, lunar principles. This is commemorated in the grand festival at the temples of Edfu and Dendera on the new moon of the 11th month of the solar year, celebrating the union of Heru and Hether, the solar disk, waxing and waning crescents. Within the moon's orb represents this event in the goddess's crown. At the new moon, no light is visible. However, a crescent of light appears on the third day following the solunar conjunction. At the commencement of the 7th day, 50% of the moon's surface is illuminated, and by the 15th day, the full moon is entirely illuminated by the sun's reflected light. As the full moon wanes, the sky progressively diminishes in illumination over the subsequent days, culminating in the waning crescent. This page enumerates the lunar months and lunar festivals, each described in distinct terminology. A frieze in Heather's temple at Dendera illustrates the entire cycle of lunar days. The new moon will transpire following day 2 of the new synodic cycle, when the initially visible sliver of the crescent emerges. The quarter moon celebration is referred to as the 6-day feast, 6 days post the visibility of the first crescent. Whereas The full moon celebration is termed the 14-day feast, 14 days post the visibility of the first crescent. A lunar year comprises 354 days, segmented into 12 lunar months. An effort has been made to harmonize the lunar and solar calendar systems by abbreviating this duration for millennia. Figure 32 illustrates that the Egyptians incorporated a 13th lunar month of variable duration. During the dynasty, the Egyptians neither abandoned nor extensively adopted lunar calendars. After the lunar year, a grand ceremony of offerings to ancestors occurs, signifying the time for tomb offerings during the 6-day feast. The ancient Egyptian lunar calendar remains used today, albeit solely for religious observances. Jews commemorate Passover on the first full moon after the spring equinox. Muslims partake in the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca, on the same lunar occurrence, while Christians observe Easter on the first Sunday after that full moon. The Oriental calendar designates the new year based on the occurrence of the first new moon after the sun's ingress into Aquarius. Although numerous cultures, including the Egyptians, perceived the lunar cycle as feminine, it is solely through the narratives of the Heliopolitan deity Asar, intimately associated with the moon's phases, that the lunar cycle of growth and decline is distinctly represented. In ancient times, Egypt's inaugural ruler, Asar, and his devoted sister consort, Oset, established order and civilization in the nation. However, his brother Set harbored profound jealousy towards Asar's widespread adoration. Set and his accomplices subsequently assassinated him and dismembered his body into 14 fragments as a consequence of these malevolent actions. Auset's sorcery and the deity's intervention resurrected Asar. He ascended to the dominion of the shadow realms, the expansive ethereal domain beyond the physical world, where all ancestral spirits dwell. Thus, all were believed to return to this deity's domain upon the cessation of physical existence. Asar represents the force of transcendence, embodying the essence of the lunar principle in nature and the function of recurrence within the life cycle. This myth interlaces the lunar processes, from when Auset and Nebt-Het assumed control over Asar's 14 members, to the lunar eclipse following his demise, symbolizing Set's rise to power. The moon's variable course causes light to diminish and increase, yet its cyclical return counteracts dissolution by ensuring perpetual renewal. Upon vanquishing Set, Asar attained completeness and entered a domain surpassing nature's temporal forces. Crescent moons represent Asar's resurgence in Egyptian rituals during the decline of his power. Restorations signified his reappearance, while a return denoted his reappearance. Subsequently, the Neter officially announces his dismemberment, commences a mourning ritual, and enters a phase of inactivity until a new moon rejuvenates his existence. Material offerings, a practice that sustains the Neter's diminishing powers until their resurgence, predominantly characterized lunar ceremonies during this period. The new moon signifies the commencement of ventures and the establishment of new initiatives, such as the construction of temples, as the moon's cycle symbolizes the domain of time. This phase signifies the moment a physical seed is sown in the womb of time, destined to flourish at the full moon when the forces of light and dark matter will inhabit and illuminate the body. The ancient Egyptians regarded eclipses as times of Seti's dominance, during which they halted temple rituals and confined the priesthood to the divine house. In ancient Egypt, a myth linked to the solar eclipse occurring during the new moon featured Ra, the sun deity, and Auset. Ra's debilitation, indicated by the reduction of the sun's visage in the lunar sphere, signifies his encroaching senescence. To neutralize the affliction, the goddess administered poison to extract his secret name. In obtaining the character, she guaranteed that royal authority would be perpetually transmitted to Heru, thus securing the continuity of the incarnate pharaoh. Solar eclipses symbolize the diminution and reinstatement of the sun god's powers via Oset's sorcery. Consequently, the temple recited Ra's 75 divine names at the commencement of this cosmic event. Lunar eclipses, which occur during the full moon, represent Set's assassination of Asar. The waning visage of the moon signifies these eclipses, which are caused by the Earth's shadow. During the 14th new moon, Auset and Nebt-Het conducted extended vigils to emulate their brother's lamentation. Shortly thereafter, the conception of a son named Heru immortalized Auset's essence and restored his physical form. The prevention of Set's chaotic dominion necessitated the application of the most potent magic. Each temple adhered to its ritual cycle, encompassing daily observances, monthly rites, and annual festivals, by its cosmogony and the events about the Neteru it venerated. We revere the lunar principle by adhering to Kesu, rites, or prescriptions. Kesu provides both animal and plant-derived sustenance during the lunar cycle. Daily purifications are integral to the Kesu, symbolizing the rejuvenation of physical existence. The Kesu collectively represent the fundamental components of temple practice. The solar circuit principle significantly impacted the Egyptians via the heavens. The ancient Egyptians perceived the rhythm of sunrise, the zenith of the sun, and sunset as symbols of the ascent and descent of divine light, which maintained continuous interaction with the duat, or invisible sky and shadow world. A substantial component of funerary literature is the celestial journey of the sun, exemplified by works such as the Book of Gates, the Spell of the 12 Caves, and the Books of the Sky, also referred to as the Book of Day and the Book of Night. These works depict the solar journey through night and day as an essential aspect of the soul's perpetual renewal of life. The Egyptians, whose civil calendar was predicated on the 3 seasons associated with the Nile and lunar cycles, instituted a calendar comprising 360 days. Calendar observances were predominantly founded on the solar cycle of equinoxes, when the Earth's equator aligns with the sun's trajectory, and solstices, when the sun reaches its maximum northern or southern position on the horizon. According to the Egyptian solar calendar, each month of the lunar calendar comprises 30 days. Every month comprised 3 weeks, each spanning 10 days. Alongside this festival, the Epagomeni, Greek, added, were observed, commemorating the birth of the 5 solar deities: Asar, Set, Heru-Ur, Auset, and Nebt-Het. This resulted in 365 days, aligning with the interval between 2 consecutive spring equinoxes, precisely 365.25 days. The sun regulates monarchy, and the civil calendar records occurrences about the royal house and administration. This religious practice signified the quarterly intervals during which major festivals were observed across the 2 lands, including the winter solstice feast of Sokar, the deity of dormant vitality. Historically, the summer solstice coincided with the inundation of the Nile. Heru, the progeny of Asar, embodies the solar principle in his mythological endeavors. His quadruple exalted name, Ra-Atum Harakte Kepri, representing the 4 divisions of the day in antiquity: dawn, noon, dusk, and midnight, indicates that Heru is fundamentally the embodiment of the sun. By vanquishing the adversary, the shadow, he brings awareness to the darker aspects of human experience through his triumph over the forces of Set. The solar principle is embodied in Heru, representing the restoration of order in the temporal domain and the potency of fusion in the spiritual realm. His mastery function, as the principle of ascension, forms a luminous body. Initiates enter this vehicle to ascend into the divine realm on the celestial journey that commences upon fulfilling the obligations of terrestrial existence. We also illustrate Ma'at, the goddess positioned at the sun's vessel's bow, governing the Horian principle of order. By preserving the sun's trajectory along the celestial path of life and truth, She provides enlightenment to all who dwell beneath. Heru symbolizes the dormant capabilities of human experience activated by the initiatory voyage through the constellational year, akin to Ra, the primordial light source. Additional solar deities encompass the Heliopolitan Ennead. Iru, also referred to as Hebu Nu Pet, signifies festivals of the sky, or cosmic events, and venerates the solar principle. The Iru, foundation ceremonies, encompass 5 elemental powers and 4 quarters. These phenomena occur as the sun traverses different regions of the celestial sphere throughout the year, invoking the energies of cosmic entities, whose seasons activate as the sun moves through their respective constellations. The Egyptian solar calendar acknowledged the cycle of 4 celestial periods as the rise and fall of solar energies in the observable realm. This cycle is referred to as the ecliptic belt of the sky, which traces the sun's path through constellations over the tropical year. During the spring equinox, when day and night are of equal duration, the sun's transit commences, representing the equilibrium between the visible and invisible realms. Asar's powers were revitalized in antiquity when Orion re-emerged in the nocturnal sky. The Egyptians were notably vigilant regarding the solstices. The summer solstice aligned with the onset of the Nile's flooding, while the winter solstice signified the planting season following the receding waters. Elaborate temple festivities were conducted each occasion to honor the Neteru, whose power had been revitalized and manifested in the sky and on Earth. As the night extended and Orion's visibility diminished in the sky, it symbolized the declining influence of the solar deities and the rise of dark forces. The sun's ingress into the constellations signifies the soul's entry into the domain of conscious creation. Referred to as the Nator, Ra generated the 5 senses, Heka, Sia, Hu, Ma, Sejem, and all entities in the observable realm through his creative prowess. An initiate embodies the light body throughout the 12 solar ingresses of the zodiacal mansions, before encountering the deities in cosmic domains. The concept that the body is linked to cosmic principles persists in the astrological rulerships of the signs, which govern body parts, physiological functions, and spiritual capacities. The celestial rhythm. They acknowledge that divine life is eternal and immutable, unaffected by the cycles dictated by the 2 celestial bodies on Earth. Their sidereal year, when 2 consecutive stars occupy the same position in the sky, was recognized as 365.2. 636 days. The precession of the equinoxes, resulting from the Earth's poles oscillation, and the spring equinox's gradual shift along the ecliptic, leads to a 20-minute divergence between the solar and sidereal years. 8,000 years ago, the summer solstice coincided with the heliacal rising of Sopdet, the celestial embodiment of Auset, marking the commencement of the Nile's inundation. This period is referred to as the Night of the Teardrop, marking Auset's realization of her husband's demise, and the tears shed by the goddess that caused the river's inundation. Contemporary Egypt continues to commemorate it as Laylat al-Nuqta. The Sothic calendar documented sacred periods, temple ritual events, and the movements of celestial bodies, named after Sothis, the Greek designation for this star. Sopdet's appearance, coinciding with the solstice and inundation in antiquity, established her as a principal indicator of the celestial sphere. Consequently, a remarkable calendar determined time and seasons with exceptional precision using this fiducial star. Auset, the sovereign of sorcery, spouse of the dormant deity, and progenitor of the righteous son of illumination, embodies the mythological realm of Sopdet through her transformative abilities. Heru epitomizes the equilibrium between dark and light moral forces, symbolizing the fluctuating physical power embodied by Asar. As the goddess animated her husband's lifeless form, the esoteric initiation rituals within her domain imbued the soul with cosmic illumination. She nurtures the creative principle, as Heru's conception was influenced by her rejuvenating powers, enabling entry into the realm of cosmic existence and affiliation with the divine entourage. Hebu-Tepteru, denoting the festivals or feasts of the calendar, is commemorated at the temple to venerate the stellar principle. Temples additionally conduct the Hebu during their festivities. During peak periods, they perform rituals that bestow powers upon the Neteru. Ancient temples were crucial for manifesting and embodying the divine essence as the Neta periodically ascended from its celestial realm, whether hourly, daily, monthly, or annually. The inception of ancient timekeeping was likely intended to create a systematic order and offer a consistent method for comprehending this order. In the temple, the emergence of light signified the conclusion of the dark hours, as it was believed that the deity would awaken in cyclical intervals determined by the temple's cosmology and descend into the divine house. Thus, astronomer priests conducting their craft in observatories atop temple roofs observed the sun's trajectory during the day and tracked the stars' movement across the nocturnal sky. Alongside the esteemed sacred astronomy of Egypt, these experts introduced a timekeeping system that we have inherited. Contemporary societies have neglected the latter approach, resulting in a diminished comprehension of the era and cycles of celestial forces. Each day, a circle of stars traverses the sky as the Earth rotates on its axis. Yet only half of these stars are discernible to the unaided eye. Seasonally, particular constellations are visible at dawn or dusk along the horizon. Other celebrities traversed a predictable trajectory across the sky. Observations indicated that these stars manifested at specific times of the day, leading to their designation as chronocraters, symbols of the arrival of divine entities linked to timekeeping. A star is regarded as a bar or divine manifestation of a deity, and this influence is perceptible beneath the stars. The stars indicate advantageous or adverse conditions in both sacred and secular domains. 36 constellations have adorned the southern ecliptic, the sun's trajectory. Each group's names and guardians differed when inscribed on tombs and papyri. Nonetheless, there exist 36 constants. During the equinoxes, when day and night are of equal length, the interval between the emergence of each deacon on the horizon corresponds to 40 minutes. This duration fluctuates with the season and the observer's latitude. The deacons functioned as nocturnal indicators during their traversal of the horizons. Decans emerged sequentially at twilight in the eastern sky at 10-day intervals to signify the commencement of the new week. Due to daylight obscuring the stars for half of the day, not all 36 deacons would be observable on the horizon. Nevertheless, they will manifest on the nocturnal horizon throughout the year, indicating the commencement or conclusion of a season for the observant viewer.